Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are filming once again in Bamberg in Franconia in the northern part of Bavaria in Germany. I'm visiting my very good friend Daniel, who, as of course I've told you before, is the reason that I kind of do this whole beer thing. He introduced me to the Bamberg Rauch beers a number of years ago, and the whole craft beer interest really just stemmed from there. But for this review we are going to stick to Bamberg, and we're going to have a look at a beer from one of the lesser known breweries in the city. This is actually one of the smallest breweries that you're going to find here in Bamberg. So for this one we're going to go to the Brauereigasthof Greifenklau, which is near to the Altenburg, which is the famous kind of church and castle up on the big hill in the city, and we're having a taste of their lager beer today. So this one is the Greifenklau lager beer, and it comes in at 4.9% ABV. So I went up to the brewery with Daniel in this one. We only had time to kind of pop in, pick up a bottle of the beer and go. We didn't have time to kind of sit around and have a taste of the beers, but I've heard that this one is very good. Daniel told me the beers up there are really quite nice, and you know, he's never pointed me wrong when it comes to these local Franconian beers. So really looking forward to trying this one, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that hopefully I can do from the Greifenklau brewery in the near future. This is the very first time I'm tasting one of their beers, of course, but as I say, I want to do more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the German beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about the Brauereigasthof Greifenklau then. So the first historical reference to the Greifenklau brewery is in the year 1585, but the actual history of brewing begins with Canon Franz Friedrich von Greifenklau, who built the inn and other buildings at the beginning of the 18th century. So he built the present beer garden at the Altenburg as well, but when he died in 1729 there's reports that the brewery passed into the ownership of the church, and there's not really much record of what went on between 1729 and 1914, although in 1914 the brewery once again became family owned, and it was under the guidance of the Brauchard family. So Sigmund Brauchard the first, I believe there's about 3 or 4 Sigmund Brauchards after this, but the first Sigmund Brauchard bought the brewery for 38,000 marks in 1914, but for a period of time he had to brew the beers in the Regelhof brewery, which was until 1919 when his brewery was ready to basically operate commercially. But today the brewery is led by the 4th generation of the Brauchard family, and the brewery has an output of only 990 hectolitres of beer per year, so it's one of the smallest operating breweries in Bamberg in terms of capacity. But they've got a really nice little restaurant there. It's one of these just little buildings, as I say, very close to the Altenburg, which is one of the big kind of tourist destinations that you're going to find in Bamberg. So have a little wander down from the Altenburg and drink a few beers at Greifenklau, and their food there is supposed to be very good. Daniel was telling me that he's been up there a couple of times for a beer, and it's one that's definitely worth checking out. So yeah, one of the smaller breweries that you're going to find here in the famous city of Bamberg. As I've told you before, Bamberg is a very, very beautiful city, largely untouched during the Second World War. This region, Franconia in Germany, has the highest density of breweries per head of population anywhere in the world. So it's somewhere that if you're a beer nerd like me, you definitely want to come and check out. But yeah, that's all you really need to know about the brewery just now. If you want to learn a little bit more, check out the brewery website. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram and things like that. It's not very common actually for German breweries to have Instagram, but you can check out the Instagram, and as always, just have a taste of some of their beers. The local Franconian beers are really damn good. If you get the chance to come to this area in Germany, I cannot recommend it enough. Lovely people, and always keen to teach you about beer, which of course is never a bad thing. But yeah, let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself. So there you can see the lovely Greifenklau crest on this one. Really is quite nice, this actually, very traditionally German bottle this. I really like that. There you can see the top label on this one, the lager beer, of course. I love that about German beers too, the fact that they've got these little top labels, and it's one of the kind of standard German bottle caps that you're going to get on this one. I have actually seen Japanese breweries using this, using a very similar bottle cap on their beers, which has been quite interesting. You know, with tradition, I've seen the Japanese breweries using something very similar to that. But this beer is best before the 10th of April 2019. It says brewed for the family Sigmund Brauerei Greifenklau GmbH, Lorientsplatz 96049 Bamberg. So yeah, like I say, very close to the Altenberg, which is kind of this brewery is kind of in the southwestern part, I guess you could say, of Bamberg. But yeah, really nicely presented beer, this one. As I said, it's a 4.9% lager beer, this. So without further ado, let's get it out and we'll get on with the tasting then. Like I said, I have never tried anything from this brewery. We didn't have time to stop in and taste one of the beers. We just picked up one of the bottles and took it away with us. So I thought this would be a really cool review to film for you while I was still here in Bamberg. So yeah, let's get it out and we'll get on with the tasting there. We just need to watch the head on this one. It doesn't go too crazy. I think I've poured it a little bit aggressively there, but it will settle down over the next little while. So yeah, as you can see with this beer, it's poured a lovely, bright, goldeny yellow colour there. It's, you know, it's pretty much, it's actually quite a dark golden straw colour there. You can see some of the big bubbles sticking towards the bottom of the glass, a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of that head there, but you know, overall it does look pretty much as you would expect one of these Franconian lager beers to. If I put my fingers behind the glass, you can see this beer is pretty crystal clear, solid 3 fingers of a frothy, I would say cream coloured head, this one. It's not a perfect white head that's on this beer, it is more along the lines of a kind of creamy coloured head on this beer, but overall, you know, it looks very, very nice. I have to say that about this beer. Let's see if we can get the last little bit of this in, and then we can have a look at the aroma in this. I always like to have the full bottle of beer in there. Yeah, just the last little bit. There we go. Whole thing is now in the glass. But yeah, lovely looking beer, this. So let's take a closer look at the aroma and see how we get on. Yeah, so with this one, good little bit of bready, malty presence to the beer. As you'd expect, you've got some of those nice, smooth, white bready, typical German malts coming out of the aroma here. Yeah, lovely bit of that bready malt there. It's got quite a bit of a biscuity note to this one. I'm finding this one is quite sweet in terms of the aroma. Lovely kind of malty sweetness. Biscuity. It's almost like a little bit of that kind of oily McVitie's digestive character to this beer, to be quite honest with you. But I like how the different flavours are coming out of this one in terms of how the different aromas are coming out of this beer. But yeah, lovely bready notes, that smooth German bready quality. There's a little bit of you can pick up a little touch of the yeasty note in this one, but I'm finding this one has a good little bit of that biscuity sweetness and maybe even a little touch of caramel in there, a little bit of a sweeter caramel. But yeah, nice bit of a kind of noble hoppy quality. You've got a little touch of the earthiness, you know, some of the slightly spicier floral aromaticity and a little bit of grassiness. Overall, the hoppy side of the beer leans a little bit more towards that kind of grassy side of things. You've got that nice, typical German Tettnanger Hallertau noble hop quality to this beer. And in terms of fruitiness, to me there's a little bit of a kind of peary-appley ester to this one, but mainly that nice sort of lemony, citrusy, grassy quality that you would of course associate with these German noble hops. So as I always say, take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck in, but let's have a taste of this one now. So this one is the lager beer from the Brauereigasthof Greifenklau, just next to the Altenberg here in Bamberg in Franconia, northern Bavaria in Germany. So let's get stuck into this beer then. Slange, Skål, Prost. Yeah, that's interesting, this one, because I was kind of picking that up from the aroma. I really thought from the aroma this would be a little bit more of a kind of malty lager beer, and it really has. Just in the first sip that I've had, I would definitely stick with that. It is a little bit more of a malty lager beer, this one, which is quite nice, I have to say. Yeah, I would definitely stick with that. This is a nice biscuity lager beer, this one. I like how this one's kind of coming across. It's a very clean, easy drinking lager beer, this. So let's try and break the flavour of this one down a little bit more. So with this beer, if you go into the centre of your palate, you can feel that nice, light, kind of pale malty quality. That just blankets the middle of your palate there. It does have a little bit of an underlying sort of German bready quality to it, this beer. But to me, in terms of a lager beer, this one has a good little bit of sweetness to it, and I quite like that about it actually. It's always cool when you go to these different breweries that are so close together and you see, you know, really quite different interpretations of these different styles of beer. But for me, this is nice. I like this one. It's just a little bit more biscuity and sweet. So if you like your lager beers like that, you will certainly enjoy this one. Yeah, I like that beer actually. You know, it's it really, I don't know what it is. This beer is really just striking me as being quite nice. But I mean, in fairness, when it comes to German beers, I've always loved the Dunkels, I've always loved the Doppelbocks, I've always loved these beers that are a little bit more malty. And for me, in terms of a lager beer, they have done a nice job of this. This one really just hits the spot for me because of that slightly stronger malty character that it has. But like I say, a bit of pale malt in the middle of your palate, but on top of that there's a fair little bit of complexity to this one. So right in the centre of your palate you can pick up that there's a little bit of a sweet kind of caramelly note from this, and as you just go outside of that centre bubble there, you get a little bit of a kind of biscuity graininess to the beer, which is nice. And as you go further out towards the edge of the palate, you can feel that graininess coming out just a little bit more actually, which is nice. Yeah, I like how this beer goes together. I mean, it's one of these ones where it's again, it's quite simple in terms of its flavour profile, but just everything sort of blends together very, very well in it. So yeah, the malt base in this one, it leans towards the sweeter side of things. You've got a nice little bit of a biscuity, grainy sort of thing in this one. But on the hoppy side of things, it again is typical of what you'd expect. In the back corners of the palate, you've got a nice little bit of earthiness there. As you come further forward along the sides of the tongue, it just smooths out a little bit. You've got a nice little bit of a floral aromaticity there at the front corners of the palate. Then round the very front curve of the tongue, it's a little bit lighter and grassy. And then behind the front curve of the palate, you have a little bit of that fruity, that nice oily bubble where the fruity esters come out of the beer. And for me, again, it's quite typical. It's got that nice grassy floral type ester to it, this one, just a little bit of that lemony grassy type thing. Yeah, I would stick with that analysis of the fruity side of things. The grassy hops at the front there, it's got a little bit of a hoppy bitterness there. I would guess some in the IBUs with this beer, it's somewhere around the kind of 30-ish mark, this beer. It's got a nice, very clean lager beer, this one. I like how everything goes together, but you've got a nice, I just really like how all these, the kind of slightly sweeter malty base that this has builds a good bridge with the hops, and you've got some of that grassy floral note to the beer as well, which is really nice, I have to say. But the fruity side of this beer, definitely a kind of grassy, citrusy ester to this one, which I like. And it's got just a little touch of a slightly peary, appley ester too, but that's very, very minimal. It is more leaning towards that grassy, citrusy thing that I was talking about. In terms of the mouthfeel of this beer then, I would say it's either at the bottom end of mid-bodied or at the higher end of light-bodied. It's somewhere kind of in the middle of there. There's a good little bit of crispness to this beer from the carbonation. The carbonation does have a little bit of a prickle to it. The mouthfeel, in terms of the lager style of beer, it's actually a little bit more of an oily lager beer in my opinion, but at the same time it has that good little bit of wetness that you expect from the style to give you the kind of refreshment, the kind of refreshing sort of feel that you would want from this beer. As I said earlier, around 30 IBUs, I think there is a little bit of a bitterness to this beer. The malt base overall has a little bit of the smoothness, but it's also got a little bit of the, more of a sweeter character that is the kind of, I would say that sweeter character is a little bit more of the kind of the defining characteristic of this beer, if you like. My brain's not quite working in this video, but I would say this beer is a little bit sweeter in terms of its malt base, which is the kind of the sort of defining thing with this beer, and I do like that about it. I like it when beers have a little bit of a malty presence to them. So one of the more malty lagers that I've come across in recent times, and it's got that typical sort of grassy, citrusy, fruity character that you would expect of the style. But overall, a very, very nice lager type beer. This, I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. If you like your lagers to be a bit more sweet and malty, then this is one I think that is going to really fit the bill for you. As I always say, beer is subjective, people like different things, but for me, I like the kind of lager beers to be just a little bit more malty, and this one really fits the bill in that regard. So yeah, have a go at this beer for yourself and see what you think. I'm not sure how widely available it is. I think you can only get this beer from the brewery itself or some of the very local Getränke marts and beer shops around Bamberg, but for me, a very nice lager beer, and it's got a little bit more of a malty presence to it. So yeah, have a go at this beer for yourself and see what you think. But let's leave it at that for this one. So this one was the Private Brauereigasthof Greifenklau lager beer, a really nice lager beer with just a little bit more of a malty presence, and otherwise everything that you could expect of the lager beer style. So have a go at it for yourself and just see what you think. But once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do check out my social media. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Brauereigasthof as well. Hopefully I can try some more of the beers in the fairly near future, but have a go at this one for yourself and see what you think. This is their highest production beer from what I understand, but they do things like a Weizenbock. I think they've got a Weiss beer and a Helles as well, and you can try the Oktoberfest beer. They have very recently released a Rauch beer as well, which I was hoping to review for you, but that one wasn't available at the time that I was in the brewery, so maybe you'll see that as a review in the near future. But once again, thank you for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. This was the lager beer from the Private Brauereigasthof Greifenklau in the southwestern part of Bamberg here in northern Bavaria, in Franconia in northern Bavaria in Germany. Until the next time, Slanja just now, and I will catch you guys very soon. Slanja, Skål, Prost.